Welcome to episode 2 of our Desecration Warmaster battle series. In this battle report we have Sedge taking on H, 1500 points, High Elves versus Wood Elves. Our big major changes to the Desecration scenario for this one is our objectives are going from having 6 hits to 3 hits. Objectives still count as defended for all intents and purposes. Objectives must be placed 40 centimeters from each other this time, not 30. And then if you look at the little table here, you can see that if you attack or shoot a objective and do no damage, your cap will not increase. If you attack or shoot an objective and don't destroy it, your VP cap will go up by 100 VPs. And then if you attack, shoot, and destroy the objective, then not only will you score 100 victory points, but your VP cap will go up by 500. All other things stay the same. Both teams place 3 objectives each, and then we deploy as normal.
The Wood Elf list in today's battle report, we have got a General, a Branch Wraith, a Spellweaver with a Wand of Power. We have got 2 units of Glade Guard and 2 units of Eternal Guard with 1 War Dancer attached to one of those Eternal Guard units. We've got 1 unit of Way Watchers. We've got 2 units of Dryads, 2 units of Treekin, 2 units of Glade Riders, 2 units of Wild Riders, and 1 unit of Warhawk Riders. With 14 units in the army, the break is 7. Here is the High Elf army being used in today's battle report. We have got a General, a Hero on a Dragon with a Sword of Might, and a Wizard with a Scroll of Dispelling. For units, we've got 2 units of Spearmen, 2 units of Archers, 3 units of Silverhelms, 1 with the Sword of Destruction, 1 with the Sword of Cleaving, 2 units of Reavers, 1 unit of Chariots, 1 Giant Eagle, and a Bolt Thrower. With 12 units in the army, the breakpoint is 6.
Alright, both of us have a plus 10 to our scout rolls, but H managed to roll out of his mind for his deployment here, so the Woodies go down first. You can see the High Elves have dropped their 2 units of Glade Riders, their Eagles, and their Dragon Lord, and now go down at the Woodies. So we have got a nice little brigade there of Treekin and Dryads sitting in the forest. On the hilltop, we've got the Archers backed up by the Glade Guard, and then we have got our nice cav bus of 2 units of Glade Riders and 2 units of Wild Riders sitting there central, and the Eagles off to the side, and all of our characters. Down go H's troops now. He's got Artillery Hill going on again, backing up one of his objective markers that you can see there, and he forms a nice line of cav, and then he's got 1 unit of Spears off to one flank to protect that side. On go the characters, and away for Wood Elf turn 1. So first roll here, we just shuffle our trees up into the trees a little bit further. Okay, then we're just moving straight down onto the hill, not trying to rush forward too hard, too aggressively, anything like that. So pretty nice and easy so far. Then from there, we're going to think about some cavalry maybe, I don't know. Yeah, alright, so we separate the cav here, so that way the Wild Riders sort of shoot off around to the side, and then the Glade Riders are going to sit a bit more central, so that way we've got some nice shooting defending the objective in the centre there that we have to try and stop and defend. All of our cav comes out, and now we're on to High Elf turn 1. So first thing I'm going to do is see them also shuffle down off the hill. Now, you might just be able to see in the bottom right corner where one of his objectives are, the nice little building in the bottom right corner of your screen. You'll see one sitting on top of the hill, and then the other one is all the way over on the flank by itself, near the forest where his spears have just moved up. So that's his 3 that H is trying to defend here. See his cav sort of moving around. The field's made it a bit awkward for him moving his chariots coming up in a little bit, but in that first brigade at the top there, you can see 2 units of Helms and the 1 unit of Glade Riders in the middle, and then down the bottom here we've got Helms, Glade Riders, and Chariots that have not yet to move, with the Eagles sitting behind them, sort of ready to go. So just working out where we want to go here. A nice move here brings the Chariots up. Just making sure that it's really hard for me to hit anything with 2 orders. The budgies sort of jump up a little bit further here. Similarly on my side, if you missed where the objectives were on my side, 1 is sitting behind the hill that all my artillery is sitting on, 1 is in the forest there, and then the other one is dead center of the board right in front of my big artillery hill, my big archer hill I guess you could say, ready to go from there. So first thing we do here is we're going to move for the Woodies. Get the second order off there as well, which is fantastic. So we bump up to the trees and then bump a little further into the trees, which is great. Next up, the Wild Riders just shuffle back a little bit, just allowing him more of an opportunity to move into my gun line, as it were. So that's nice and fun. We managed to land the Eagles, the Warhawk Riders over to the side there. Now the Warhawks have a shooting attack as well, so I wanted to attempt shooting the objectives now that we've reduced the amount of wounds they have. See if they were too easy to kill or not kill based on the new scenario and the objectives. The other two sitting behind his big line of infantry, all defended on the hill, are going to be very hard to even think about and get through to. So I'm going to have to pray that he makes some kind of a mistake and gives me an easy in cutting through the middle of that section there. So next up, the Wild Riders move up. We get a little bit of magic off. We managed to bring in the archers into the trees there as well, and so everyone sort of sits there nice and happy with the treekin getting defended as well off the edge with the magic. So now he's working out just how annoying I can be, placing my units hanging out of some terrain here. So he's trying to work out what he's planning to do on his second turn here. Out comes the lovely tasty beverages, and we've got a mate off screen here, D, who is coming to check it out. He's our old 6th edition Warhammer player from back in the day, and so he's come here to sort of check out a bit of Warmaster action and see what's what. And so we're explaining a lot of the different elements of the game to him as we go along here. But you can see there he gets one order off on his spears to move up into the flank of the Warhawks, and then happens to fail the second order to get them to actually go in. So that kind of stalls his, north of the board flank over here, his right flank from moving up, with his dragon being the main mover over that side. So he gets one order off with his general here, just to sort of sit them up a little bit further and put them in a good position. He might even have failed that first order. I can't really remember there, to be honest. But is everything... Is anyone going to move again? Yeah, we're just... Oh, here's a shooting. So now he's shooting at the guys that came in from into the trees. So he manages to take a standoff, push the other one back, and confuse them as they get driven back into my troops there. So Woody turn 3, and the first thing we're going to do is hone back with the archers. And we're not honing back the entire distance. We're just trying to hone back so that he doesn't have line of sight to us, so that he would have to charge me in the front with his spears if he were an initiative charge, and then I can still shoot at the objective to the left of me to try and just cap it or get a couple of extra points. Now, only 3 shots hitting on 5s means that it's unlikely to happen, but it's still worth the crack. Next up, the treekin sort of shuffle around the trees here and make it so that it's really hard for him to go around or go through. I put the treekin on the flank of that unit as they pivoted around, so then that way, if he were to hit me in the flank, it's not really that easy for him to get a lot of kills out of it. And, with them being there, high armor save, lots of hits, lots of attacks back, isn't the easiest decision to make when it comes to charging into them. The artillery hill, just have to sit, just be patient. We managed to get the Wild Riders to move a little bit, and then no spells go off, so we move on to high off turn 3. So the first thing obviously is going to be these spears initiative charging into my Warhawks here, so I'm going to have a stand and shoot at them and see what happens there. Next up, his dragon issues an order to his cavalry. So from memory, that was a failed order, so they just have a nice little 15 centimeter shuffle further up into the bunker here. And then his general is going to order the knights, and what he recognizes here is that the knights are essentially, if he can boot them through here, he's going to end up in a situation where he can probably break through my lines and break into the objective at the back of the board behind the hill and scoot his whole army behind. So he manages to get most of the way out of my vision here. He obviously has a horribly exposed flank and then fails that roll. So naturally he's a bit disappointed about that result. It's his general's ordering, so that's his end of his movement as well. So his characters have a little bit of a shuffle at this point in time. And he's a bit stuck. His cav is highly exposed where they are right now, and things are not looking good in the middle of the table. With 3 units of expensive cav there, if I can push them back, hit some flanks, get them pushing into each other, he's going to end up in all sorts of pain, which is exactly what I'm going to be doing in a minute. He's going to shoot from his hill now into some of the lads in the forest as well. So does some annoying shooting there. Now he's attacking with the spears. We managed to draw the combat thanks to some nice stand and shoot reactions from me. And we do a slide each around the objective there. So now we're just measuring up to work out where our charges are going to be going in from this point in time and what flanks and everything like that people are into. So we check out some orders here. Now we decide to go into the flank there because we happen to be in the flank with that stand of Glade Rider. So even though they're a little bit squishier, being in the flank means that they can definitely get there nicely. The same with the Treekin and the Dryads. We give one order to move out of the trees, second order to charge them in the flank, which was really nice that we managed to get that off. Very happy with that result. Next up, these Glade Riders move up to provide a little bit of extra support. They end up going in the front here because it turns out that was not the worst choice in the world. We get the order off to get that to charge into the flank over there as well. We were just outside 20, so we couldn't quite do that. The other unit of Wild Riders move up behind the hill just to hopefully hold some pressure so our line has a chance to hold over here. And then we manage to get some spells off. We join the combat, try and get some damage going in here. So he gets one on me. I get a few wounds on him. Then I'm obviously pushing him into an engaged unit. So win by a lot of supports, take them off, hit the next unit behind. Going to do the same thing here too. So we're going to hit the unit and then they get pushed back into a combat and take them off. I rolled horribly for our fallback, so we have to basically form into columns here. I did manage to lose a unit of Treekin there, but obviously taking out those 3 unit of Cav in the middle of the table was well worth that that sacrifice, I guess you could say, of losing the stand there. I don't manage to, in spite of all these attacks, kill those chariots in that first round. We then do a nice little fallback maneuver here. And again, Glade Riders, Wild Riders, the middle of the board's nice and open to me now. He loses half of his break on that as well, and we move on to High Elf turn 4. So he charges into my Warhawks once again over the top of the board here. I think that was the only initiative charge he had available to him at the time, so I'm obviously fine with that being the case. His big fellas end up on top of the hill here, second order for them, and in they go. So 1 was in the flank and 2 in the front. Those Wild Riders are in for a bad time. 1 in the front, and the other one hits the objective, of course, because at this point in time, no objectives are taken. So at this point in time, my hit point and my victory point cap is 100 VPs, right? I haven't taken any of his objectives. I've only managed to damage the one to the north 1 time. So if he takes out the objective here, we're both drawn on 100 victory points each at this point in time in the game, and I'm in desperate need of finding a way to take one of these objectives out, because if I don't end up taking one out, it's going to be a 100 point versus 100 point 10 all draw for the game, which is obviously devastating. So he charges in, he takes off the thing, he manages to hit my Glade Riders in the flank with the follow-up maneuver as well, and then he takes off a bunch of them too. Luckily for me, he can only follow up 1 time, not twice. I choose not to make way. He does a 3d6 fallback and does a nice cheeky little power slide down behind my lines once again. I don't know if I commented that his Eagles jumped across the board to sit right at the objective down the bottom there too, making sure he's out of range of my backwards facing War Dancers. So that was really annoying. And then he's now hitting the Wild Riders over here and doing lots of damage to them, taking them off, and he's attacking the Warhawks too, which luckily only 1 stand in base contact with it because he was charging them in the front, so they managed to survive this round of combat as well. But the Wild Riders are sadly not quite that lucky, and they do take some stands in return, but they are definitely dead at this point in time, well and truly. So he does a little slide back there with his Cav after winning the combat, just to get them out of shooting range and make sure that he has some protection from that perspective. Wood Elf turn 5, and we are now working out what we can do. We do a little hone back. We roll absolutely abysmal on the hone back, so we just end up sitting there kind of in no man's land a little bit, which it is what it is. We managed to get out of the trees, and we hit the front over here with the Treekin. We get the second one coming up as well, but we don't quite manage to get that one happening. We get into the flank with the Glade Riders, which was awesome. Then we join up with that unit of Treekin. I just got crazy lucky with the Dryad giving lots of orders out this turn, so that made a huge amount of difference for me. We just pivot on the hill a little bit so we can still protect the objective behind us and hopefully drive back some Glade. Sorry, what are his Reavers called? And then we get the Warhawk. We get the Wild Riders that were in the middle of the board with 2 orders from the general up into the objective on the hill, which was sensational. Really needed that badly after the Dryads failed to move up and support down the bottom there. Then we. What are we doing at the top here? We're getting some shooting off, trying to do some drive backs, trying to do a little bit of damage, make some things happen here. We push back there. We then go to the big combat on the hill, attacking the objective and take out the objective. We hit the little fellas in the flank as well. And obviously we can't advance twice in the one round, so we're just going to sit there on the hill and hope to not cop too much back in return. And then on the other side of the board, we managed to kill the Eagles and we pivot back around there as well. So managed to take out 2 more of his break plus the half from the guys in the middle. He's on a half a break point and I'm still sitting on 4.5. Now, understandably, H is pretty frustrated at this point in time, losing the middle of the board. Then a few other bits and pieces didn't quite go his way. So we did a little bit of coaching here at this point in time. And I think this is a great exercise to have with your opponent of like, okay, where's your 4.5 break that you need? You need to break me this turn. Right, get that draw, you got to be the first one to break. So how are you getting that break? Well, there's obviously half a break in that Eagle, the Warhawk, sitting at the top there, right? He's got more break down here with the Treekin and then the Dryads in the middle of the board. Where's he going to move next? He's got the, I was a bit greedy with the archers down the bottom. So getting them to come out and move in a way that he could then charge them in the rear there. You can see there hitting those guys. I got them out of the forest to try and be greedy and shoot them a little bit in the arse. He's then going to order one of his generals going to order these guys behind there you can see to make sure it gets auto destroyed. Alright, so now what we're looking at is 1 stand at the bottom of the board, another half from the unit there, another half from the Treekin, another full unit from the Treekin, another full unit of the Dryads there. And so if he manages to get a bit lucky up on the hill and take my Wild Riders out with his archers that are hitting me in the flank without losing too much in return, and that is the key, not losing too much in return there, he could actually do all 4.5 this turn and take me out. So pretty dangerous for me, obviously. And here we are rolling some dice. He's already killed the Warhawk at the top, obviously. Nice, easy one for him to win there. Now he's just hit the Treekin, and in the first round of combat, he does a good amount of damage to them. Now he's working out if he wants to keep following up or coming back. Decides to follow up, which is a great call. He's really got to hit me hard, hit me fast, and take this break out, right? So he hits me here, happy days, and then from there he slides back with the archers. You can't afford to lose a stand with them, obviously, so he manages to take out the Dryads in a bit more capacity here. Gets a bit unlucky, does a slide here with the drawn combat. I had the support, he didn't quite get the attacks off that he needed to get. I slide there as well. So now we know he can't break me this turn, but it's still worth trying to break, right? The archers have even moved, so they're sitting behind at the back there. But unfortunately for him, I managed to take out that last stand and of archers at the top of the board, and that is the game. So you can see there, it was good fun. I really enjoyed the objectives and the and what was happening with the Desecration scenario. The 2 that sit in the deployment zones don't really come into the game all that much. I think moving those out of the deployment zone might be something we look at in the future, but as you saw there, 11-9 win to the Woodies. Really nice tight game and a great fight back by H at the end to try and break me and flip the game around. So awesome game. Hope you enjoyed it. Get in the comments and let me know what you thought of Desecration Take 2.
Hope you enjoyed it. I have been Sedgy and this has been Warmaster Revolutions. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your hobby time with me today.